If you've got chronic gut issues, which you can't shift no matter what you do, maybe going to the doctor, trying restrictive diets like low FODMAP, and those symptoms just keep on coming up, then this video is for you. I want to talk about how what appear to be purely physical symptoms can actually be rooted in stress, and how that stress actually leads to those physical symptoms in many cases. So let's get started. One of the key things that people see when they don't digest well is bloating. Now, clearly that often means fermentation happening in the gut. But why is there fermentation happening in the gut? What exactly is causing food to become fermented? Now, often it's an issue of motility and of gastric function. So maybe you're not producing enough stomach acid or bile or enzymes, and therefore food is not being really well digested. And it gets down into your digestive tract, moves through into your intestines, and then not being completely digested is food for bacteria, which can cause SIBO. So what's causing this sluggish motility? Motility meaning, the speed of which your digestion moves. It's often due to stress, because stress will deprioritize digestion and reduce stomach acid. And it's not just the day-to-day types of stress, which you might think about, like work stress. It can be stress patterns or anxiety patterns that have gone your whole life, maybe since childhood, often from when you were less than 8, and caused you to react to the world in as if it's a threat. So the fundamental feeling, and see if you identify with this, would be like, I don't feel safe. And if that resonates with you, if you just check in with your body right now and feel it and think, yeah, I kind of feel this buzzing activation of not feeling safe, that means your nervous system is in a state of fight or flight, a low-level state of fight or flight, as opposed to being in the other branch of the nervous system, the parasympathetic, which is also known as rest and digest. Obviously, digestion is a function that happens when you feel safe, because traditionally, as we evolved, digestion is less important than survival, right? If something's coming for you, it's better to fight or run away, fight or flight. And that makes blood flow to your muscles rather than all that energy and effort being used up on digestion. But what happens when you're chronically stressed, when the stress really never stops? There's just this low level of not feeling safe, which goes on your whole life. What happens then? What do you do? Well, at that point, your gut slowly and continuously is deprioritized. Often stomach acid goes down, and then we don't digest our food properly. And then no matter how many antibiotics people take, their SIBO just doesn't seem to go away, because what they're doing is nuking their whole microbiome every time they take it, without even looking at why those bacteria are growing in the first place. Of course, when you destroy your whole microbiome, it's often the opportunistic and pathogenic, i.e. bad bacteria, which grow back first. And if you're not taking probiotics at that same moment, they have even more advantage. So you can see how common therapies for gut health issues just seem to make things worse and worse. And I keep seeing this with clients coming to me and say, oh, I had it, and then I took antibiotics, and then it got even worse. And then I took acid blockers because I was getting reflux, and it got even worse. And every single intervention they do seems to kind of make them dependent on the intervention without solving the root cause. And that root cause is a lack of felt safety in the body. And it's often not where you're looking. You may be looking at supplements, or you may be looking at doctors, like specialist doctors, who are going to give you some kind of pharmaceutical intervention. But if fundamentally you don't feel safe in your body, that pharmaceutical intervention isn't going to work, right? Because all it's going to do is break down a process. And that means you're going to either become dependent on it, or it's not going to work in the first place. That's why a lot of people on drugs like amitriptyline might see some improvement of symptoms, but they become utterly dependent on amitriptyline, which is a low-dose antidepressant, and they don't go anywhere with it. So what I'm really saying is check in with yourself and just think about your levels of anxiety, of how you actually feel and how you show up in the world. If you identify as a highly anxious person, then it's extremely likely that this is correlated with your gut health symptoms. If you'd like to discuss reducing that anxiety quickly and reducing those gut health symptoms with a clinically proven method, which is extremely effective, extremely fast, zero side effects, then reach out at the link below. Look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.